This is the book of Samuel, part 42. And we're going to be looking at 2 Samuel chapter 11 from verse 1. And it came to pass, after the year was expired, at the time when kings go forth to battle, meaning this shows that there are certain seasons that it is mandatory for kings to fight. There are seasons that it's not compulsory for kings to go to war, but they can go anyway if they will. But there are seasons that it is no longer about their willingness, it is a must for them to go. So there are seasons that kings go to fight, and there are seasons that kings do not go to fight. Are you getting what I'm saying? But these happen to be seasons when kings go to fight. Now don't forget, this is 2 Samuel chapter 11 from verse 1. And it came to pass, after the year was expired, at the time when kings go forth to battle, meaning the period where kings do not go for war has already expired. So this is time for work now. That David sent Joab and his servants with him and on Israel, and they destroyed the children of Ammon and besieged Rabbah. But David tarried still at Jerusalem. Can you see that? He was supposed to go because that was a time for kings to go and fight. But he decided not to go. So he sent, he has men. So he said, well, I have powerful men. So you go and fight. I will stay here. So David, instead of joining them to fight, he stayed in Jerusalem, enjoying himself. Verse 2, and it came to pass in the evening tide, that David arose from off his bed. Around that time, David arose from his bed. He was enjoying. He was just relaxed. He was just relaxing. He left his bed, and then let's watch what he did. And he walked upon the roof of the king's house. The king's house is usually decorated. So there are spaces at the top of the building where you can walk. Are you there? And take a stroll. And walked upon the roof of the king's house. And from the roof he saw a woman washing herself. The word washing herself means, it has a direct meaning anyway. Washing herself has two possible meanings. Number one, washing herself can be taking a bath, like she's naked. And washing herself can also be, just washing some part of her body. Maybe she's washing her legs, washing her hands. Maybe she did something and then that thing actually, made a part of her body to be dirty. So now she wants to wash them. Are you getting what I'm saying? So those are the two possible things that is likely to happen in this place. And the woman was very beautiful to look upon. Meanwhile, David was seeing all these things from the window. Verse 3, and David sent and inquired after the woman. And one said, is not this Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite? And David sent messengers and took her, and she came in unto David, and he lay with her, for she was purified from her uncleanness, and she returned unto her house. So David rose, looked through the window, saw a woman washing herself, ordered for the woman, slept with the woman, sent her back. Can you see how easy it is? Why? Because he was a king. See, God will ensure he works on you before he puts you in the place of authority. Because if that does not happen, you will cause a lot of havoc. You will do a lot of terrible things. Imagine a general overseer who God has not worked upon. All the ladies will be defiled. I'm telling you, there are some places now, there are some people under the umbrella of ministry who are defiling people. They cannot go a day without defiling these young ones. And those people will not say it out. Some of them foolishly think it's a privilege to even have sex with their father in the faith, their mentor. Can you see how foolish that ideology is? That's what is happening. There are some now under the umbrella of ministry. In a day, they ensure they sleep with at least minimum of 3, because they have enough. Minimum of 3 people in one day. And they have been running that schedule for months. And yet, everybody is just quiet. They have been deceived to think it is a thing of joy. Are you there? They have been deceived to believe, well, count yourself privileged. You know, the man of God is even having something to do with you. You cannot be happy. It's a lie. It's deception. So position makes it easy. David looked through the window, saw a woman, called for the woman. The woman came. He slept with her. The woman left. That's all. But a normal man cannot do that. Do you know who Bathsheba was? Bathsheba was the wife of one of the soldiers. Not just an ordinary soldier. One of the soldiers that had, some level of rank. So you can't try that if you are an ordinary person. But David could do it because he is in the position of authority. So please, let God work on you before you desire leadership, so that you will not cause a lot of damage. Verse 5. And the woman conceived, meaning she got pregnant, and sent and told David and said, I am with child. When the woman got pregnant, she now sent a message to David and said, Sir, that thing you did that time has resulted into pregnancy. I'm just telling you so that you will know. And David sent to Joab, saying, Send me Uriah the Hittite. And Joab sent Uriah to David. And when Uriah was come unto him, David demanded of him how Joab did, and how the people did, and how the war prospered. Can you see that? David did not go to fight. So when Uriah came, meanwhile Uriah was the husband of Bathsheba. So when Uriah came, David now said, well, how is the battle? How is Joab, your captain? He was trying to show care. Meanwhile, that was not the intention. Are you there? But he was just saying those things first so that nobody would suspect anything. Verse 8. And David said to Uriah, Go down to thy house, wash thy feet. And Uriah departed out of the king's house, and there followed him a mess of meat from the king. So when Uriah was leaving, the king sent, gave him gifts as he's going to his house. Look at all this kindness that David is showing. Meanwhile, he has an evil agenda. He has a secret agenda. All lovers are givers, so are you there? But not all those who are giving are lovers. Please take note of that. That somebody is giving you something does not mean they love you genuinely. A person that loves you genuinely will give, but not all those who gives really love genuinely. Some people give as a form of deception. They give to camouflage. Are you getting what I'm saying? So don't be deceived. All these things David is doing now, he has an agenda. Of course, you will see as we proceed. But Uriah slept at the door of the king's house with all the servants of his lord, and went not down to his house. The king said, Go to your house. Do you know why? He wanted Uriah, he believed that there's no way Uriah will go to the house, that he will not do something with his wife. But Uriah is not a man that is not that kind of man that the king thinks about. He did not go home. He slept at the door of the king with the men that followed him. He did not go home. Do you know why? He was thinking, how will I go to my wife? To go and have fun with my wife when my people are in the battlefield. I'm supposed to be fighting. Uriah understands time and season. Uriah is like one of the sons of Issachar, who, people who understood times and seasons. Uriah was thinking, how will I go to my wife and have fun with her when my people are fighting? It's better I die in the battle than to go and have pleasure. This is the same mentality David is supposed to have. If David had this mentality, he would not even be at home. Not to talk of looking at Bathsheba, another person's wife. Let's continue. And when they told David, saying, Uriah went not down to his house, David said unto Uriah, Comest thou not from thy journey? When then did thou not go down unto thy house? Then David said, so you are just coming from, I sent you to your house to go and rest. Why didn't you go? And Uriah said unto David, The ark and the Israel and Judah abide in tents, and my lord Joab and the servant of my lord are encamped in the open field. Shall I then go into my house to eat and to drink, and lie with my wife? As thou livest, and thy soul liveth, I will not do this thing. Can you see that? Uriah was a great man. He may not be the captain of the entire host of Israel, but he was a great man. Greatness here is in the ability to know the right thing to do at the right time. Uriah said, the ark of the Lord is in the tent. If these people kill us now, they will take the ark away. My Lord Joab, who is the captain of the entire host, is also at the battlefront. I cannot leave those people fighting and then I'm going to be doing one funny thing with my wife. Never. Verse 12, and David said to Uriah, tarry here today also, and tomorrow I will let thee depart. So Uriah abode in Jerusalem that day and the next day. And when David had called him, he did eat and drink before him, and he made him drunk. And at even he went out to lay on his bed with the servant of the Lord, but went not down to his house. Can you see that? David then, said, okay, don't worry. If you don't want to go, don't go. He had another plan. He made him drunk. He gave him wine in excess. He thought that at least when he's drunk, he will think of his wife. He got drunk, yet he did not go home. Can you see how determined Uriah was? As a matter of fact, Christians need to have this kind of determination. You must be determined. You must be as determined as Uriah. Men who will not allow pleasure to blind their eyes from what they are supposed to do. Men who will go to work when it is time for work. Not men who will stay sleeping on the bed when they are supposed to be working. Even in his drunk state, he still did not go home. Can you see that? This man showed loyalty to the king. But because of the king's evil intention, he could not reward the loyalty of Uriah. Instead, he did something evil to him. Listen to me. Many of you have wondered, why is it that this person have been doing a lot of wonderful things to him, a lot of wonderful things to her. They are not even paying me back with good. I do good to them. They repay me with evil. Don't be surprised. It's because of their heart. When the heart of a person is wicked, no matter the good you do, they will always respond with evil. It's a matter of what they have in their heart. Look at all these things that Uriah is doing to David now. David naturally is supposed to even, think and say, okay, I'm the one that is wrong here. This man is right. But no, he wanted to cover up his mistake, his sin. He wanted to, instead of him to even open up, he wanted to cover up. Hello, if you are listening to me, this is the word of the Lord to you. Don't cover it up. Open up. Are you there? Because as long as you try to cover up your sin, you will continue to sin. You will add more sins to your sins. Let's continue. Let's see what happened. And it came to pass in the morning that David wrote a letter to Joab and sent it by the hand of Uriah. And he wrote in the letter saying, set Uriah in the forefront of the hottest battle, and retire ye from him, that he may be smitten and die. Look at this. I feel like crying now. I feel like crying. David had tried all he could do to make him sleep with his wife. And why was he planning that? He knew that, at least if Uriah sleeps with his wife, well, when the pregnancy begins to shoot out, it will look like the baby is for Uriah. So David wanted to, that's bad. He wanted another man to raise another seed. That's deception. When he saw that all his attempt was not working, then he wrote a letter, gave it, please, be like Uriah. Every true soldier must be like Uriah. Somebody said, well, I should be like Uriah that ended up dying in the battle. What is that? What is that? A true soldier must die at his post. So death is not a disadvantage. It depends. The question is, where are you dying? Are you dying at your post, or you are just dying on the street like a dog? David wrote a letter, and in the letter he said, put Uriah at the hottest front of the battle. Don't support him. When you put him there, leave him. Let them kill him. Can you see that wickedness? The letter was given to Uriah. But because of Uriah's faithfulness, he did not open the letter. it was Joab that opened it. Look at how faithful Uriah was. So David now repaid this man's loyalty and this man's faithfulness by killing him. There's nothing you cannot do when you become desperate. There are many people now who will never repay your good works with something good. They will never say thank you. Why? Because of their wicked heart. Verse 16. And it came to pass when Joab observed the city that he assigned Uriah into a place where he knew that valiant men were. And when the men of the city went out and fought with Joab, and there fell some of the people of the servant of David, and Uriah the Hittite died also. Can you see that? Because Joab wanted to carry out the king's order, which was against the will of God. Not only Uriah died, some other soldiers also died. Meanwhile, that's a battle that, ordinarily the soldiers were not supposed to die, but because they wanted to kill Uriah, they have to allow other soldiers to die, so that it will not look like it's only Uriah that they killed. Look at this. It is well. When Joab sent and told David all the things concerning the war, and charged the messenger, saying, when thou hast made an end of telling the matters of the war unto the king. Okay, let's read verse 19 again. And charge the messenger, saying, when thou hast made an end of telling the matters of the war unto the king, and if so be that the king's wrath arise, and he say unto thee, wherefore approach ye so nigh unto the city, when ye did fight? Knew ye not that they would shoot from the wall? Who smote Abimelech? Oh, sorry. Okay, yes. That's still the same verse. Okay, verse 20 now. If so be that the king's wrath arise, and ye say unto thee, wherefore approach ye so nigh unto the city, when ye did fight? Knew ye not that they would shoot from the wall? Who smote Abimelech the son of Jerubesheth? Did not a woman cast a piece of my stone upon him from the wall, that he died in Thebez? Why went ye nigh the wall? Then say thou, thy servant Uriah the Hittite is dead also. Can you see that? So the messengers went and came and showed David all that Joab had sent for him. Ordinarily, the king was supposed to complain, why did you allow the soldiers to die? So Joab now said, well, if the king wants to complain that why is it that we lost a lot of soldiers, just tell him that not only just a lot of soldiers, so please, you should note that Uriah is also dead. Can you see that? Joab knew that at least the moment the king knows that Uriah is dead, the numbers of soldiers that now died will not mean anything to him. You see, Joab was a wicked person. But at the same time, even King David too. This sin he was trying to cover made him wicked. So at this point, Joab was comfortable in his wickedness. If you have been following this series, you remember what Joab did to Abner. I hope you won't forget that. When you trying to cover up a sin will make you become wicked. And this is what is happening to David. David was not a bad person, but because he was trying to cover up a sin, he became wicked. Wickedness begins from when you start trying to cover up something sinful. You don't want anybody to know. You want it to be a secret. Nobody must know. That thing you are doing is what will make you become wicked. So the messengers went and came and showed David all that Joab had sent. And the messenger said unto David, surely the men prevailed against us, and came out unto us into the field. And we were upon them even unto the entering of the gate. And the shooters shot from afar, from off the wall, upon the servant. and some of the king's servants be dead, and thy servant Uriah the Hittite is dead also. And David said unto the messenger, Thou shalt thou say unto Joab, Let not this thing displease thee, for the sword devoureth one as well as another. Make thy battle more strong against the city, and overthrow it, and encourage thou him. Can you see that? When David heard that, okay, Uriah is dead, okay, he could not, originally was supposed to scold Joab for allowing those soldiers to die. But when he knew Uriah is dead, he had peace. Okay, at least this secret will not be exposed. So he now sent the messengers back to Joab. He said, don't worry. Just be strong, encourage yourself. Don't worry, you will conquer. Can you see that? Verse 26. And when the wife of Uriah heard that Uriah, her husband, was dead, she mourned for her husband. So when Bathsheba heard that Uriah was dead, she cried. The question is, why was she crying? That means she really loved her husband. Then if she really loved her husband, why did she give herself to the king? Because she has no choice. That's it. In those days, you don't have a choice. The king of a land is like a god. Even if you don't want to do it, you have to, because you will die. If a king says, come and lie with me, and you say, well, I don't, it's only me and my husband, they will kill the woman there. So one of the reasons that Bathsheba had to allow David to do what he did with her was because of the fear. She knew that she can be killed. So she had to allow that. It's not because she is thinking, she had that thought in her heart. She was just washing herself. That's it. And it was not like she positioned herself where David will see her deliberately. No. When you are at the top of a building, there is nothing you cannot see. Virtually nothing you cannot see. Even somebody who is washing herself inside her house, you can see it. Why? Because you have the advantage of height. That's it. So she mourned for her husband. Many things could have led to the crying, to the mourning. She could have felt, oh my God, I did not even, oh my God, so I kept this secret from my husband. I did not even tell him. So my husband died without knowing what was happening. How I wish he is not dead. I would have just opened up to him and tell him everything. Oh, now he's dead. Those things could have led to some of the reasons you see the Bible saying that, Bathsheba mourned her husband. Verse 27. And when the morning was past, David sent and fetched her to his house, and she became his wife, and bare him a son. But the thing that David had done displeased the Lord. After she finished mourning, because there's a particular number of days for mourning, so after she finished the mourning, she brought her to the palace, and she became David's wife. Then she gave birth to a son. But the Bible says this thing that she did displeased the Lord, meaning that the Lord was not happy with what he did. And this is the first time that the Lord will say something like this to David. This is the first time David will do something and the Lord will say, I'm not happy with this. Are you there? The Lord did not say, I'm not happy with you. No, he said, I'm not happy with what you did. Are you getting what I'm saying? May the Lord give you grace to continually make God happy through what you do in the name of Jesus. This is the wisdom of God. Don't sell it. This is the book of Samuel, part 43. And we are going to be looking at 2 Samuel chapter 12 from verse 1. And the Lord sent Nathan unto David. And he came unto him and said unto him, There were two men in one city, the one rich and the other poor. So when Nathan came to David, Nathan began his conversation with a parable. Verse 2, the rich man had exceeding great flocks and herds, but the poor man had nothing, save one little ewe lamb, which he had bought and nourished up. And it grew up together with him and with his children. It did eat of his own meat, and drank of his own cup, and lay in his bosom, and was unto him a daughter. Can you see that? This animal was no longer, so to say, an animal to this poor man, because they had seen that one, let's assume it's a sheep now. They have seen that one sheep as a part of the family. The poor man had only one sheep. So the sheep grew with them. He grew with the children of the man. So they eat together. They have become like, the sheep had become like their son. So they have love. That kind of sheep, they can never kill it for any reason, because that one has become a part of the family. So the poor man loved the sheep the same way he loved his children. Now let's watch what happened. Verse 3. Okay, verse 4. And there came a traveler unto the rich man, and he spared to take of his own flock and of his own head to dress for the wayfaring man that was come unto him, but took the poor man's lamb and dressed it for the man that was come to him. So Nathan now said, but this rich man had a visitor. So the rich man now wanted to kill an animal just to satisfy his visitor. So he left all the thousands of sheep that he had, and he went ahead to pick this one sheep that belongs to this poor man. He killed it and used it as a meal for his visitor. And David's anger was greatly kindled against the man, and said to Nathan, as the Lord liveth, the man that has done this thing shall surely die. Nathan has not even asked. Nathan did not even ask, okay, please, what can you say about this? The moment David heard that the rich man left the thousands of animals he had to pick the one that this poor man had, David said, hey, stop. This man now, this rich man will surely die. He thought that Nathan was referring to somebody or something that happened physically in the land of Israel. He thought that thing was something that happened physically. He did not know that parable was talking to him. He said, this rich man, if this man is in Israel, he's going to die today. And I trust David. He's not only going to kill the rich man, he's also going to pack all the animals of that rich man. He is going to give them to the poor man. Are you there? Verse 6. He shall restore the lamb fourfold. Can you see that? I've not even read this, but I know what David can do. He will also give a lot of animals to this poor man. He said he shall restore the lamb fourfold, because he did this thing, and because he had no pity. And Nathan said to David, thou art the man. You are that rich man. So you are saying the man will surely die. That means you deserve to die, because you are this rich man. I know at that point David will open his mouth in surprise. What do you say? Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, I will anoint thee king over Israel, and deliver thee out of the hand of Saul, and gave thee thy master's house and thy master's wives into thy bosom, and gave thee the house of Israel and of Judah. And if that had been too little, I would moreover have given unto thee such and such things. Wherefore, as thou despised the commandment of the Lord to do evil in his sight, thou hast killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and hast taken his wife to be thy wife, and hast slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon. Can you see that? The Lord was so angry. He said, you did not just... You see, let me tell you something. It is honorable for a warrior to die in his own land. That was why when Saul wanted to die, he did not want the enemy to kill him. He had to kill himself. He called somebody, please kill me. I don't want... Are you there? When the enemy kills someone, is a thing of shame. So the Lord was now saying, you did not only allow Uriah to die, you allowed the enemy to kill him. That's shameful. Are you getting what I'm saying? Now, therefore, the sword shall never depart from thy house. Now, this is the beginning of David's problem now. the Lord placed a bitter statement. The Lord said something very terrible to him. He said, the sword shall never depart from thy house, because thou hast despised me, and hast taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife. Thus said the Lord, behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thy own house, and I will take thy wives before thy eyes, and I will give them to thy neighbor, and he shall lie with thy wives in the sight of this son. This was what led to the trouble David had with his son Absalom. If he had not killed Uriah, Absalom would not have rebelled against his father. So this was the beginning of David's problem. Are you getting what I'm saying? So this thing that David did actually led to a lot of troubles in his life. If he had known, he would have just gone to war that day, because this was the beginning of David's real problem. You will see as we continue in this teaching series. For thou did it secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel and before the sun. And David said unto Nathan, I have sinned against the Lord. And Nathan said unto David, the Lord also hath put away thy sins. Thou shalt not die. That means, part of the punishment of David was that he was supposed to die. That thing he said, the man will surely die. It was David himself that said, this man will surely die. The moment he said it, God also marked it. You will die. But when David now come to realize that, I have sinned greatly before the Lord, because he acknowledged that he had sinned, the Lord said, okay. You will not die. So one of the things that God stopped was the death of David. He was supposed to die. But God did not stop the remaining things he had said, the remaining things that he said. Are you there? You will see how these things played out in the life of David. But the only thing God stopped was death. God said, okay, because you have acknowledged your sins, you will not die. But the remaining thing I've said will surely happen. Verse 14. Howbeit, because by this deed thou hast given great occasion to the enemies of the Lord to blaspheme, the child also that is born unto thee shall surely die. So the death that David was supposed to die was shifted to the son of Bathsheba. He said, now this son that Bathsheba has given birth to will die. So he will now die in your place. You are the one that is supposed to die, but somebody must die because of this thing you have done. So don't worry, you will not die because you have acknowledged your sin, but that son will die. That thing that David did had given the enemies an opportunity to mock the Israelites. Because forever in their history, they will say, well, we killed Uriah, who was one of the captains of the army of Israel, the armies of God. We killed the captain of the armies of God. And this is what God does not want to happen. But David, because he was trying to cover up for himself, allowed the enemies of God to mock God. This was why God was angry at him. And Nathan departed unto his house, and the Lord struck the child that Uriah's wife bare unto David, and he was very sick. Can you see that? David therefore besought God for the child, and David fasted and went in and lay all night upon the earth. So when David saw that the child that Bathsheba gave birth to was very sick, he began to fast. He began to beg God, please, I will not do it again. Please, I will not do it again. He was begging, he was crying. The Bible says he laid upon the earth. To lay upon the earth is to lie on the bare ground, where there is sand. Not to lie in the sitting room where you have ties. That means David went to where there is sound and he lied down there. He was begging God, please. Let's see what happens. Verse 17, and the elders of his house arose and went to him to rise up from the earth, but he would not. Neither did he eat bread with them. So they were begging him, okay, king, please stand. He said, no, I will not stand. Okay, come and eat. He said, no, I will not eat. He was crying, begging God, please, I don't want this. Meanwhile, in the house of David, he had never buried any of his children. The Bible did not record that one of the sons of or one of the daughters of David died. So he could not imagine, how will I bury any of my son before my face? Lord, please, this is a taboo. How can my child die and I'm still alive? I'm the one that is supposed to die before they die. Please. He was begging God. He was crying. Verse 18, and it came to pass on the seventh day that the child died. The child sicked for 7 days, and on the seventh day the child died. And the servant of David feared to tell him that the child was dead. For they said, Behold, while the child was yet alive, we spake to him, and he would not hearken unto our voice. How will he then vex himself if we tell him that the child is dead? So when the child now died, they were even scared to tell him, because they were like, even when the child was still sick and he was alive, he did not listen to us. How are we now going to tell him that the child is dead? Will he not even kill himself? But when David saw that his servant whispered, David perceived that the child was dead. Therefore David said unto his servant, Is the child dead? They said, He is dead. Then David arose from the earth, and washed and anointed himself, and changed his apparel, and came into the house of the Lord, and worshipped. And he came to his own house. And when he required, they set bread before him, and he did eat. So after he knew the child has died, what did he do? He stood, washed himself, anointed himself. He went to the house of the Lord and worshipped. Of course, he knew he was wrong. Some of us, we are wrong. Yet God is dealing with us, and we are still saying, God, why? God, why? Don't you know you are wrong? After the child died, David went to the house of God, and he worshipped the Lord. Lord, well, we cannot question you. Thank you for everything. He went and worshipped the Lord. Even in that terrible state, he went and worshipped the Lord. Because he knew, of course, he was wrong. So immediately he stopped fasting. He said, okay, give me food. There's nothing I can do now. So just give me food and let me eat. Verse 22. And he said, while the child was yet alive, I fasted and wept. For I said, who can tell whether God will be gracious to me that the child may live? But now he is dead. Wherefore should I fast? Can I bring him back again? Shall I go to him? But he shall not return to me. And David comforted Bathsheba his wife, and went in unto her, and lay with her, and she bare a son, and called his name Solomon. And the Lord loved him. Can you see that? The first child of Bathsheba died, but the second one was named Solomon, and the Bible said the Lord loved that one. Are you get what I'm saying? So one of the ways David comforted Bathsheba was also by lying with her. That's it. So he went to Bathsheba after the child had died, spoke nice words to her, and also had sex with her. So that means sex is also a way of comfort. That is for those who are married. So that's one of the functions of it. It's not just pleasure. It's also a way of comforting your partner. Do you understand? Verse 25. And he sent by the hand of Nathan, the prophet, and he called his name Jedidiah, because of the Lord. And Joab fought against Rabbah of the children of Ammon, and took the royal city. And Joab sent messengers to David, and said, I have fought against Rabbah, and have taken the city of waters. Now therefore gather the rest of the people together, and encamp against the city, and take it, lest I take the city, and it be called after my name. And David gathered all the people together, and went to Rabbah, and fought against it, and took it. Can you see? Joab was a very crazy servant. Joab had fought several battles, and he was winning. So he sent a message to David. He said, you better send soldiers to come and assist me. If I fight this city alone and I conquer again, I'm going to name the city after my name. So if you love yourself, better send people now. Immediately, David sent soldiers to go and support Joab, because even David knew how crazy Joab was. Verse 30. And he took their king's crown from off his head, and the weight thereof was a talent of gold, with the precious stones, and it was set on David's head. And he brought forth the spoil of the city in great abundance. Are you there? That means from that battle, when they conquered, they had a lot of valuables that was given to them. They took a lot of valuables from them. Verse 31. And he brought forth the people that were therein, and put them under saws, and under harrows of iron, and under axes of iron, and made them pass through the bricklings. And thus he did unto all the cities of the children of Ammon. So David and all the people returned unto Jerusalem. Are you getting what I'm saying? But there's something I want you to take note of, because as we continue in this study, it's going to really help you. Please note that the major problem that David had started when he killed Uriah. As a matter of fact, David's problem, the major problem David had in his family, can be traced to the consequence of killing Uriah. There's something I want you to pay attention to. Let's go back to this chapter. I want you to see something very important. Okay. Let's look at chapter 12 from verse 10 again. Now therefore the sword shall never depart from thy house, because thou hast despised me, and hast taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife. Please take note. This is chapter 12, verse 10. From verse 10 now. Verse 11. Thus says the Lord, behold, I will raise up an evil against thee out of thy own house. That was what led to Absalom's rebellion. Please take note. Absalom's rebellion lasted for some time, that David had to even run away from the throne. Similar thing that happened to Saul now happened to David as a consequence, as a reward for killing Uriah. Are you there? So, this verse 10 and verse 11, even verse 12, for thou didst it secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel and before the sun. Are you see? So, 2 Samuel chapter 12, verse 10 to 12 were the things that led to the problems in the family of David. You discover that we'll soon get there, but I'm just telling you this so that you'll be able to link it together when we get there. Absalom slept with the wives of his father, and he did it openly before all Israel. That was the fulfillment of what the Lord have said in this verse. 2 Samuel 12, 10 to 12. Are you there? So the major problem David had can be traced to, are you there? Can be traced to Uriah. So if David had not killed Uriah, there will have been peace during his reign. But because of that mistake, he actually, he destroyed a lot of things. This is the book of Samuel, part 44. We're going to be looking at 2 Samuel chapter 13 from verse 1. And it came to pass after this that Absalom, the son of David, had a fair sister whose name was Tamar. And Ammon, the son of David, loved her. Can you see? This prophecy came out in chapter 12. The fulfillment began in chapter 13. You see now. David had peace from the beginning till chapter 12. But after chapter 12, when that statement came out, because David killed Uriah, problems started in his family. You watch it, you see what happened now. Let me read that verse 1 again. 2 Samuel chapter 13 from verse 1. And it came to pass after this, that Absalom, the son of David, had a fair sister, whose name was Tamar. And Ammon, the son of David, loved her. So Tamar was the sister of Absalom. Ammon, that loved Tamar, also was the son of David, but maybe not from the same mother. Are you there? But the same father. Are we together? Now, and Ammon was so vexed that he fell sick from his sister Tamar, for she was a virgin. And Ammon thought it hard for him to do anything to her. But Ammon had a friend whose name was Jonadab, the son of Shimei, David's brother. And Jonadab was a very subtle man. And he said unto him, Why art thou being the king's son? Lean from day to day. Wilt thou not tell me? And Ammon said unto him, I love Tamar, I love Tamar, my brother Absalom's sister. Can you see when Jonadab saw him, he said, you are the son of a king and you are growing lean every day. Is it that you don't have good food to eat? Of course, because in those days when you see the sons of the king, you just know they are always looking fat, looking fresh. But this time, Ammon was growing lean and he said, are you not the son of the king again? Why are you now becoming lean? So he opened up and said, well, I love my sister, the sister of my brother Absalom. I really love her and I don't know how to go about it. And Jonadab said unto him, lay thee down on thy bed, make thyself sick. Can you see that? He said, deliberately fall sick. To make yourself sick is to pretend to be sick. That's it. That's what he's saying. So he's saying, pretend to be sick. And when thy father cometh to see thee, say unto him, I pray thee, let my sister Tamar come and give me meat, and dress the meat in thy sight, that I may see it and eat at her hand. So Ammon lay down and made himself sick. And when the king was come to see him, Ammon said unto the king, I pray thee, let Tamar my sister come and make me a cup of cake in my sight, that I may eat at her hand. Can you see that? So Ammon lied to his father, David. Are you seeing that? So this sin that David committed, this killing Uriah, was a serious problem. See, may you not kill your Uriah, because you see, the day you kill Uriah, you are finished. I'm not joking. You are finished. Even when the mercy of God will still speak for you, you will still suffer damage. That's what I'm trying to say. There are Uriahs around us. If you kill them, you are finished. That's just what I have to say. No, even if you are David. You see, why do you think Solomon's reign was characterized by peace? His Uriah was kept alive. There are men who represent Uriah in our lives. If we kill them, we are finished. Look at this now. Suddenly, because David killed Uriah, his children began to lie to him. They looked at his face and they lied to him. Problems started between the sons of the same family. Are you saying that? All can be traced to killing Uriah. All right, let's continue. And David sent home to Tamar, saying, go now to thy brother Ammon's house, and dress him meat, meaning cook for him, let him eat. So Tamar went to her brother Ammon's house, and he was laid down, and she took flour and kneaded it, and made cakes in his sight, and did bake the cakes. And she took a pan and poured them out before him, but he refused to eat. And Ammon said, have out all men from me. And they went out, every man from him. Can you see that? So when Tamar came, Tamar did the cooking before him. He did not cook the food and bring it to Ammon. No, he cooked it in his presence. But Ammon said, no, please. All these people you came with, there are too many. It's only you that should be here, please. Just let everybody leave. So she sent everybody that came with her. She sent them out. She locked the door. It was only the two of them that were inside. Are you there? So what lesson can you learn from here? It's good for you to always ensure you have people around. The presence of people also sometimes can define safety. If the people were there, Ammon will not be able to achieve that. But it was because Tamar was alone. Listen to me. If you are Tamar, don't walk alone. Because if you walk alone, this world will defy you. Who is Tamar? Tamar is anyone that carries glory. If you know you have potentials, that means you are a Tamar. Don't walk alone. Make sure you have people around you, so that what you carry can be preserved. Are you getting what I'm saying? That's it. Having people around you can mean you securing the presence of God. always ensuring that you carry the presence of God. That's safety. Because this world is after what you have. They want to defile you so that they can waste the precious substance that you have. All right. Verse 10. And Haman said unto Tamar, bring the meat into the chamber, that I may eat of thy hand. And Tamar took the cakes which she had made, and brought them into the chamber to Ammon her brother. Can you see that? They were formerly in the sitting room. So Ammon went to the room where nobody will hear any noise. So he told Tamar, he said, come bring those things to me in the room. So even if anything is happening, those people that were outside cannot hear anything. Because they are not doing it in the sitting room. They have went into the innermost part of the house. And when she had brought them unto him to eat, he took hold of her hand and said unto her, come, lie with me, my sister. Can you see that? Look at that devilish statement. It's just like somebody looking at his younger sister and said, please, sleep with me. What? Does it make sense? It doesn't make sense. So that means what Ammon wants was not even the cake Tamar was baking. It was Tamar herself. Ammon became a predator. That's it. May you not meet with predators. Predators may ask you to give them something. They may ask you to give them maybe the money you have. But it's not the money they are after. They are after you. They want to destroy you. May you not fall victim of predators in the name of Jesus. And she answered him, nay, my brother, do not force me, for such thing ought not to be done in Israel. Do not thou this fully. Can you see that? Tamar said, please, don't force me. Don't do this. This is a taboo. This thing should not be heard in Israel. It's a taboo. Don't do this. But Ammon was already in the mood. All the hormones were ready to do something. And he forced her and raped her. This is the first rape case. Are you there? That the Bible will record in the days of King David. And I, whether shall I cause my shame to go? And as for thee, thou shalt be as one of the fools in Israel. Now therefore, I pray thee, speak unto the king, for he will not hold me from thee. He said, now, if you want marriage, it's easy. Talk to the king. Let's marry. It's better. In those days, you can marry from the same family. For instance, same father, different mother can marry in those days. And you can marry from outside, but you can also marry from the same family, provided it is from different mothers. Are you there? That's it. So Tamar is now saying, okay, if you love me and you want to marry me, don't go in this evil way. Tell the king. Of course, the king will give you to me. Let's do this thing legally. But Ammon was not ready to listen. Howbeit, he would not hearken unto her. He would not hearken unto her voice. But being stronger than she, forced her and lay with her. Because Ammon was stronger. So he forced her and then raped her. And Ammon hated her exceedingly, so that the hatred wherewith he hated her was greater than the love wherewith he had loved her. And Ammon said unto her, arise, be gone. After Ammon had sex with her, he suddenly hated her and chased her away like a prostitute. You see all those brothers who are saying you are beautiful, you are this, they want to defile you. When they are done with you, they will suddenly stop replying your messages and they will hate you. Those people who cannot wait for marriage are not people to work with. They are predators that you must run from. Please take note of that. And she said unto him, there is no cause. This evil in sending me away is greater than the other that thou didst do unto me. But he would not hearken unto her. Tamar now said, please, you have already done something evil to me. But please don't send me away like a prostitute. This thing you want to do is more worse than even raping me. Please, don't let people see this. Don't let people see my shame. But Ammon will not listen. He raped her and also pushed her out like a prostitute. Then he called his servant that ministered unto him and said, put now this woman, can you see? Now she has become this woman because he had gotten what he wanted. Put now this woman out from me and bolt the door after her. Problem started in the family of David because he killed Uriah. May you not kill your Uriah, because in the day you kill Uriah, you are finished. Then he called his servant that ministered unto him and said, put now this woman out from me and bolt the door after her. And she had a garment of diverse color upon her, for with such robes were the king's daughter that were virgins apparelled. Then his servant brought her out and bolted the door upon her. And Tamar put ashes on her head and rent a garment of diverse colors that was on her, and laid her hand on her head and went on crying. Can you see that? Tamar tore the clothes. If she had put on the clothes, the people would have seen her as a virgin. But she was not pretending. She put the clothes to show that she is no longer a virgin. Now, there is a great lesson we must learn from Tamar. There's a way the virgins dress. The moment she discovers she has been disflowered, she tore the cloth. Tearing the clothes shows that she's no longer a virgin. She put ashes on her head and she was crying. Meaning she did not try to pretend like she's a virgin. She made it known that she's no longer a virgin. She did not hide it. But there are some people who are always hiding it. They are not virgins, but they will even still lie. I say, me, I've never known. And they will now get married. They now begin to beg their husband, I'm sorry, I just felt like that's the best thing to do. What's the best thing to do? There's nothing good in deceiving people. Are you getting what I'm saying? So we need to learn from Tamar. Are you there? Her sincerity. She did not hide her state. She was sincere. All right, let's continue. All right, and Tamar put ashes on her head and rent a garment of diverse colors that was on her, and laid her hand on her head and went on crying. So she put her hand on her head. She was now crying. She was crying and she was moving. And Absalom, her brother, said unto her, Hath Amnon thy brother been with thee? But hold now thy peace, my sister. He is thy brother. Regard not this thing. So Tamar remained desolate in her brother's Absalom's house. What does this mean? That means when Absalom met her, Absalom said, okay, has Amnon slept with you? He said, yes. Sorry, don't worry. Absalom is, Tamar, Amnon is your brother. Don't worry. So Absalom now accommodated Tamar. Are you there? So Absalom helped her so that she will not be, publicly disgraced. So Absalom brought Tamar to his own house. So she now became desolate in that house. What does it mean? It means that she was isolated in Absalom's house. So she was there, isolated, she was alone. But, just to reduce the level of shame that she will be exposed to. Now, let's look at what happens. Now, verse 21. But the king heard of all these things and was very wroth. So when the king heard of what happened, he was very angry. And Absalom spake unto his brother Amnon, neither good nor bad, for Absalom hated Amnon, because he had forced his sister Tamar. Can you see that? Absalom did not go to Amnon and say, why did you do this thing? It's wrong. No, he did not say anything. He just kept it to himself, looking for the day when he will revenge. When he's going to avenge that act. Let's continue. Verse 23. And it came to pass after 2 years that Absalom had sheep shearers in Baal-Hazor, which is beside Ephraim. And Absalom invited all the king's sons And Absalom came to the king and said, Behold, now thy servant hath sheep shearers. Let the king, I beseech thee, and his servant go with thy servant. And the king said to Absalom, Nay, my son, let us not all now go, lest we will be chargeable unto thee. And he pressed him, howbeit he would not go, but blessed him. Then said Absalom, If not, I pray thee, let my brother Ammon go with us. And the king said unto him, Why should he go with thee? But Absalom pressed him, that he let Amnon and all the king's sons go with him. Can you see that? Absalom wanted to revenge. He wanted to avenge, that rape. So he waited for 2 years so that everybody would have forgotten. He now organized a feast and went to the king to invite the king and even all the sons. But it happened to be that David did not come. He invited Amnon. David said, there's no need to invite Amnon now. Just do your thing. He said, no. Okay, he forced the king. The king said, okay, Amnon, go. And all the sons of the king. Don't forget that Absalom was also a son to the king. Now, what happened is this. The wives that the king had different houses. Are you getting what I'm saying? But the palace is a general place for all of them. So if the king has 20 wives, there's going to be 20 mansions for each of the wives. But the palace is for the king. It's not like all of them will now have a room in the palace. All of them will not be living in one room. No. Each of the wives will have a mansion where they will stay with their children. But the palace will be a general house for all of them. That's why Absalom have to come to the palace to invite, to take permission from the king so that all the sons can gather at the feast. Meanwhile, Absalom was doing this because he wanted to kill Amnon. Because he was not happy with what he did to his sister, Tamar. Verse 28. Now Absalom had commanded his servant, saying, Mark ye now when Ammon's heart is merry with wine. And when I say unto you, smite Ammon, kill him, fear not. Have not I commanded you? Be courageous and be valiant. So while the feast was going on, they deliberately gave Ammon excess drink. Are you there? So Absalom now said, when you see that Amnon is drunk with wine, kill him. Don't be scared. Just do what? Kill him. Remember, that was the same strategy David used on Uriah. He made him drunk and sent him to his wife, but the man would not go. Now, the same thing he did is coming back to him. I repeat again, the greatest mistake that David made was killing Uriah. That was the greatest mistake he made. And the servant of Absalom did unto Amnon as Absalom had commanded. Then all the king's sons arose, and every man gat him up upon his mule and fled. And it came to pass, while they were in the way, that the tidings came to David, saying, Absalom had slain all the king's sons, and there is not one of them left. And the king arose and tore his garment and lay on the earth, and all his servants stood by with their clothes rent. Can you see that? Though Absalom did not kill all the king's sons, but the news that got to the king was a false news. He said, see, Absalom have killed all the children of the king, all the sons, meaning all the sons of the kings are now killed. Meanwhile, that was not true. Are you there? So be careful of the news that you believe. It was only Amnon that was killed. But the news that got to David was that all the king's sons have been killed by Absalom. Let's watch what happens. Alright, let me show you something. If you go to verse 29, you will see what I'm saying. And the servant of Absalom did unto Amnon as Absalom had commanded. That means they killed Amnon. Now, after they killed Amnon, then all the king's sons arose, and every man gat up himself upon his mule and ran. Meaning it was only Amnon that was killed. The remaining sons of the king, they ran away. But the news that got to the king was that all the sons of the king had been killed by Absalom. So be careful of what you believe. Not every information is true. And yet, even if it is Christians that are saying it doesn't mean it's true. Because some Christians may hear something, they may not really verify the authenticity of the news, and they will just spread it. We have to be careful of what we tell others, so that we will not move them in the wrong direction. And Jonadab, the son of Shimei, David's brother, answered and said, Let not my lord suppose that they have slain all the young men, the king's son. For Amnon only is dead. For by the appointment of Absalom, this hath been determined from the day that he forced his sister Tamar. Can you say that? Somebody now told the king, don't believe the news. So it's not true. It was only Amnon that died. And this was because Absalom killed Amnon. This all started when Amnon slept with Tamar. So that's it. It was Absalom taking revenge. So please you don't need to. It's not all the sons of the king that died. So it was later that the king now got the true information. Now therefore, let not my lord the king take the thing to his heart, to think that all the king's sons are dead. For Amnon only is dead, but Absalom fled. And the young man that kept the watch lifted up his eyes, and looked, and behold, there came much people by the way of the hillside behind him. And Jonadab said unto the king, Behold, the king's son come, as thy servant said. So it is. And it came to pass, as soon as he had made an end of speaking, that behold, the king's son came, and lifted up their voice, and wept. And the king also and all his servants wept very sore. Can you see that? So, not long from then, suddenly all the king's sons now came. So the man now said, What did I tell you? They did not kill all your sons, so it's only Amnon that died. So when the sons came to the palace, they began to cry. The king joined them and they were crying. There had never been any occasion for crying in the family of David. It all started after he killed Uriah. Oh my God. Verse 37. But Absalom fled and went to Talmai, and the son of Ammiud, the king of Gashur. And David mourned for his son every day. So Absalom fled and went to Gashur, and was there 3 years. Can you see that? Absalom he ran away to another land. He stayed there for 3 years. And the soul of David longed to go forth unto Absalom, for he was comforted concerning Ammon, seeing he was dead. So after Absalom was staying away for 3 years, after 3 years, David now began to find a way to get Absalom. Come back now. Don't worry. I've forgiven you. Please come back. Can you see that? That was David's heart. Initially, David was angry, but now, after 3 years, there's nothing to be angry about. So he was now desiring to see Absalom. May the Lord help us not to kill our Uriah. In the